Welcome to a model of 3 faults. And for this first video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the directions. The second video, we're going to go through the answers. So as always, avoid the temptation to just go to the answers and copy the answers down to complete the lab, because there's not a lot of learning going on if you're just copying. You know that, I know that, so please, use this individualized lesson to learn about the material versus just copy stuff down. So when you get this sheet, when you pick it up, make sure you read the background information. And what we're learning about today are the 3 different faults that are involved with earthquakes. And you've already gone through the notes. You have the notes, so the notes have already introduced you to these types of faults. Now, the nice thing about this activity is the models are already created for you. So this is going to save you a lot of time. So when you get to the lab, come on up to the supply area and pick up the paper models. Just make sure you put them back, make sure you treat them with respect, so if everybody were to take them and destroy them, I wouldn't have enough to get through the entire year. So you don't have to worry about building them. So this is what you're going to be doing. So when you go to concept number 1, here are the directions. It says locate point A and B on your model. Move point B so that it's next to point A. Observe your model from the side. On another sheet of paper, make a drawing of this fault and label it. Then answer the following questions. Put answers on the same sheet as your drawing. So what I'm going to be looking for are the answers to these. Now, if you want to draw it right up here and you want to answer the questions right in here, that's fine. None of these answers need to be very lengthy. None of them are going to be a full-size paragraph. So a sentence should be able to do it. So if you want to put the answer to A right here and B right here and C right here, please feel free to do that. I'm okay with that. These answers don't have to be very long. So let's talk about those directions. I've got a copy of a PowerPoint here. So what it means right here is move point A and point B so that they're right next to each other. So here's a copy of the model. So you're just going to slide B down so that A and B are right next to each other. So it says locate point A and B on your model, move point B so that's next to point A. So when we look at the model, what did you have to do? You had to slide this side down so that B is next to A. It doesn't say move A so that it's next to B. It says move B so that it's next to A. Once you do that, use the model to answer these questions. And there is one on this page as well. Now, once you get done with that, here are some examples of normal faults that you can find. Again, I'm not sure if this is going to be on your paper or if this is just in the video directions. So if it's not, you can always add these as notes to your lab. That way you have it for the test. Now, concept 2 says thrust fault or reverse fault. Here it says locate point C and D on your model. Move point C next to point D. So if I look at that, here it is. So it's on the others, well, it's the same side, so it's this. But now you're moving C so that it's next to D. So these rock layers used to be continuous, but now you shifted C up to D. So go ahead and do that with your model and answer these questions. Again, an example of a thrust fault is a fault in which the Northridge earthquake occurred. So again, if you don't see these on your lab, add these notes to your lab. That way you can use them on the test, and it'll help you out in the test. The last part you're going to do for concept 3 is the third type of fault that we learned about. This is a strike slip fault. It says locate point F and G on your model. Move the pieces of model so that point F is next to point G. So when I look at this is where I'm looking at a top. So you're going to move F so that it's next to G. So this was over here and you shifted it this way. Remember, if you're ever looking at directions, here is your compass right here. So you got north, south, west, east. So when it asks directions like, or asks questions like in which direction did it move, you can use that to help you answer that. So you're going to finish 3, and then you're going to finish the application questions. What kind of faults would you expect to find in the Himalaya Mountains? Why? What kind of faults would you expect to find in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge? Why? What kind of fault is the San Andreas Fault? So let me give you a hint. Right here it talks about the San Andreas Fault. Here it talks about the Northridge earthquake, which is part of that San Andreas Fault system in California. And then when we talked about the Himalaya mountains, it's going to be the same as these. So go ahead, answer those questions just briefly. Why? If you want to put, if you want to put number 1 right here, if you want to answer number 2 off to the side and 3 over here, so you squeeze all your answers on the sheet of paper, I'm fine with it. Just make sure you get this checked off for me when you get done so you get credit for doing it. And don't forget to watch the second video that has the answer key.